All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, the great millstone, who were well. And salutations to all you brothers out there pushing this word in love, truth, sincerity, and humility. Once again, it's the brother Shatia from the Chicago camp, coming back to what I hope is another quick and edifying sit down. And, this is from my travels over in Europe. You know, we had a chance to see a few of the KGB museums. Okay, and the one that you see here on the screen is the KGB headquarters in Riga, Latvia. All right, and man, it's it was a very it was an extremely sobering moment, because on the outside, this looks very unassuming, okay, but in the inside, it looks like this, you know. All those dots you see on the wall, those are covered up bullet holes, okay, because as you all know, that during the time that this was going on, there were many people who were taken by the KGB and interrogated, or if they felt you violated any type of rules, or if you were trying to read or listen to something that they deemed inappropriate, you were automatically getting snatched up. Okay, if you were 18 years old and they felt you were a threat, you would automatically get 25 years. All right, and inside of this place, many horrific things took place. Okay, this is what they used to cook. Okay, they basically put together slop. Okay, fed it to the inmates, and that was their sustenance. That was their food for the day. Okay, and they were put in a cell. That's the hallway where the cells are, all right? And they were put in cells that were not meant for 35 people to be in, okay? And this is a view looking up. Now, they had the top parts of the openings closed off so the guards can look at you from the bottom. And the reason why this board is here is because this building was surrounded by normal apartment places. So if you had buildings that were taller that could look over, they put the board here so you couldn't see the people that were inside of the KGB headquarters getting tortured. You know? Yeah, these were the cells. As you can see, it's fenced off at the top. Now you can't see, but screen right in the corner, you can't see it, but there's a bucket, okay? And you got to think about it. A bucket that only gets cleaned or emptied maybe once or twice a day for 36 people. That's it from the top. All right. And inside many of these cells, they painted the walls like a dark maroon red. So when it was time for them to go to the spirit world, you couldn't tell if there was any type of blood spatter, all right, from a shot to the head. All right. They also used red carpeting. So just in case if any blood went outside the cell, you couldn't tell there was blood on the carpet. And they also used carpeting on the outside of the cells because it wasn't allowed for you to sleep during the morning. If you got caught sleeping in the morning, you would get beat up, or you would get put in a room and they would put you under sleep deprivation. They would have you under fluorescent lights for a whole day where you lose all track of time just so you make sure that you don't fall asleep again. And exercising was in a room that might be 2 or 3 times as big as their cell, all right, with 35, 36 people walking in a circle with their head down and their hands behind their back for half an hour every day. That's the hallway. So as you can see, these were definitely not this wasn't the Waldorf Astoria. Okay, this wasn't the Trump Tower. This was no walk in the park. Okay, a lot of serious things were going on in these centers, and this I mean, to give you a time frame of it, this only got disbanded in 1985. This was disbanded in like the 1985-ish, 86, or somewhere around there. So in the grand scheme of things, you're talking about that was 31 years ago. That is not a long time in a short time or in the grand scheme of things. And you know, it had me thinking that, you know, for a lot of us brothers in this truth, you know, we already see what Esau's doing with his slander campaign. You know, he's trying to make sure that when this whole thing goes down, that the Hebrew Israelites would be the ones to blame. Because this truth is going out and he can't handle it. As the scripture says, we have definitely become this guy's enemy because we tell the truth. And see, this truth is going to eventually land us in a place like this. All right, we see what's already happening with the Northern Kingdom. They're getting put in these detention facilities, and the stories that are coming out are very similar to what I just described that was going on in the KGB headquarters. Torture, rape, starvation, disease. Because you better believe, hey man, if you in a cell full of 35, 36 people and you got a bucket that's filled with 36 people piss and shit, and it's not being emptied on a regular basis, that spreads all types of diseases. Okay? You have to remember, you know, brothers that are in this truth, you have to remember that this is a fate that could possibly happen to us. But you have to remember what the scripture said. It says, Revelation 2:10, all right? It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, who we all know is bad Uncle Esau, the so-called white man, the wild man. It says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. It says that ye may be tried, meaning that our faith is going to be tested for preaching this truth. Okay? And our faith is also going to be tested because at this time you better believe that this devil is going to be pushing the mark of the beast. And we all know if you don't take that chip in Esau's eyes, you got to go one way or another. Okay, that's how we're going to be tried. It says, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So we have to remember, as the Lord said, fear none of these things which thou shalt suffer. Because you have to remember, the Lord said, I forgot where it was. Yep. Second Thessalonians 2 and 5. It says, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is telling us to fear not, because he already told us what was going to happen. He already told us what was going to happen back then in the days when we are reincarnated in this last time, if you can receive that. Okay, he told us back then, so we will remember it now. And because we know that the Lord told us these things, there's nothing to fear. Because as we read in Revelation 2 and 10, it said that if we're faithful unto death, he'll give us a crown of life. Meaning that if we keep our integrity, the Lord is going to reward us for our faithfulness. You have to remember, the Lord said that he's not quick to forget our labor of love. Is that it? No, it's Hebrews 6 and 10. I was like, I knew that wasn't it. Hebrews 6 and... Actually, let me start at 9. Hebrews 6 and 9, it says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. It says, for God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. Right. This is why we're going to receive that crown of life, because what we're doing is a labor of love, because we love the Lord. Remember, Paul said, everything we do means nothing. It means absolutely nothing if love is not behind it. It says, which ye have showed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. It says, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope until the end. What did it say in Revelation? Be thou faithful to the end, and we're going to have a crown of life. So though, it might be something that'll kind of shake you up a little bit, if myself or any of you brothers, if this is our fate to be put in prison and being jailed or be in a detention center, so be it. Okay, this is all part of our suffering. This is all to try our faith and our patience. But as we just read, the Lord is not, unrighteous to forget our labor of love, what we've done to him. The Lord didn't forget that you've given up houses and money and women and friends and jobs and cars and ass and traveling. Well, whatever you gave up, the Lord knows. The Lord knows what you gave up to serve him. So if this is your fate to be in prison, so be it. The Lord's like, hey, if you are faithful to the end, I'm going to give you a crown of life. Basically, I'm going to give you your reward. And nothing is going to be more beautiful than when we finally get to the end of this divine script to be one of those guys standing in line and Yahweh Shai is coming and he's putting a crown on your head. Well done, my good and faithful servant. That's a mighty deal. That is definitely something to definitely strive for, but that's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to make this long, but nonetheless, I hope you all were edified. So the next time we're going to say Shalom.